right. Well, today on the Brett Allan Show, I'm excited. We have one of my favorite comics, Erica Rhodes. I'm excited. She didn't have jury duty today. We've established that, so we're happy that she could join us. She's been really busy. If you've turned on your television or gone on to TikTok at any point recently, I'm sure you've seen her either on America's Got Talent or Prairie Home Companion or just kind of all over the place. But thanks for hanging out. I'm excited and I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm also happy to not be on jury duty.
Yeah, I have to have a root canal tomorrow and I'm not excited about it. Uh,
Oh
and everybody at work is like, I would rather have a root canal than stand in line at DMV. And I'm like, I don't know if that theory is going to be proven tomorrow or not. I think that's BS
yeah,
because,
I don't think so. Anything with pain, I'll stand in any line over pain.
yeah,
But
I would rather stand in line at Disneyland than have to do this tomorrow. And it's funny because the doctor was like, do you want light sedation, twilight, or do you want to be completely under? And I'm like, well,
under.
I struggle with anxiety. So what do you think is best? And she's like, we probably need to put you under completely because we don't
Yeah.
need you having a panic attack in the middle of
Oh
us
no.
trying to fix this problem. But I've been putting it off for a while, so it's my own fault. But um,
Oh, well, good luck to that.
thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm sure it'll come out somewhere along the line as a joke or something, but I'm not excited about it. Well, I was kind of looking at your website and you're coming to the comedy for it next February. Is that completely final? Yes,
Yes.
that's
Yes,
right down the
that's in
street from me.
Colorado, right?
Yep, that's right
Oh,
where I'm at.
oh,
So,
nice.
yeah, it's kind of my home club basically, where I go pretty regularly to do sets and
Oh,
try and get
I've
up as
never
much
been.
as possible. It's a good club. Have you been there before?
No, never.
It's a great room. You have a lot of to be excited about. It's a lot of
Oh,
fun. So,
good. Okay, great.
yeah, so let's talk about it. You've been busy. I seen you all over the place. I saw you on AGT recently. It would be recent, right? I don't know. I know
That was like,
sometime.
I guess it was like a year ago now, but
Oh,
yeah.
it's been a year. So how was
Yeah.
that experience for you? Because I've had other comedians on who have been through that gauntlet, so to speak, and it's kind of mixed for a lot of people. Not to put anybody on blast necessarily, but I'm just curious, as someone who had been doing stand-up for a long time, and then you went on there and had your experience, what was that like for you, kind of going through that process of doing it that way, or having that be part of
Yeah.
your story? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I did it. I think that the first round I had a little more fun just because I didn't really know what to expect. And yeah, I went in with a blank slate, like zero expectations. And then I think as the stakes rose, I kind of got anxious and, like at first I had a joke at one point where it's like, they're like, what does this mean to you? And you're like, well, whatever, I take it or leave it. And then, but the 10th, they keep saying, what does this mean to you? But what is this going to change? And by the end, you're like, I need this.
So you're kind of like
My life's over.
verbally abused into needing that experience. Like, what does it mean to you? I only ask because I've had other comics on who have done it at some point, in their career, whether that's kind of where they got not started, but their profile rose a little bit, or they like
No.
a Josh Blue who's been doing stand up forever and then went on there after he did the last comic standing thing. But I'm
Yeah.
interested I asked that for that reason because I think it's interesting. Uh, because I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it helps, but it's not um, like you said. You're like by the end, you're like, this needs to happen, or I'm quitting stand up for the rest of my
Well,
life.
yeah. Well, it was just kind of funny because I really didn't think much about it. By the 20th time, they like force you into caring. They're like, but I didn't. I mean, I still didn't put that much pressure on it. So I think everything's just an experience, and it's high pressure situation just because it's on, television and there's a big audience. Um, but I think you can turn anything into something beneficial or not beneficial. But the thing about that is you have so little control over the outcome, like there's a million factors, not just having to do with how good you are. So if you can go into it like that, I think it's the right attitude. But, I think I got exactly the right amount out of it. Like, it bumped my sales a little bit. I got a couple new fans. I got a little more traction, but it wasn't like I suddenly blew up from it. But I'm actually grateful because I know the people who have blown up from it had to work clean for like 2 years after,
Yeah,
like
that's the other
completely
thing.
clean.
Yeah, that's the other thing I've heard about that. Like,
Yeah.
if you're someone who doesn't work clean necessarily, but for that show you have to, and my understanding is there are producers that sort of have input into your jokes. And I even heard a story where they wanted someone to do something that they hadn't done for years, and or you're following a balancing act or a flame
Oh, yeah.
throwing act. um, I have a friend, he was on and he had to follow like this magician who was like a sacred Rihanna, they called her. She was like this dark magician. And then he has to go out there and tell jokes
Yeah.
for 3 minutes.
Well, my story is that there was this flying aerialist, and an aerialist, he's like on one of those ropes and doing all these fancy things in the air. And it was supposed to be couples, so it was supposed to be him and his girlfriend. And it was actually also funny because they kept pushing the story that I'm alone, like that I'm single and alone. And so at one point they had them kissing behind me, and I'm like writing in my notebook, and they're like, let's get the shot again. Okay, Erica, look down at your notebook, and you guys kiss or whatever. And I just looked up and I go, I know what you guys are doing. Okay. Like,
That's
I know
hilarious.
the story you're pushing. So, but anyway, so what happened, but it was kind of sad because a girl ended up breaking her arm in a crazy, rehearsal accident. And the guy had to go on alone, and he had to do like his whole act alone. And as I'm hearing, so they like do all the backstory of like she broke her arm and like, oh no, he's got to go on anyway. And I'm hearing the crowd get louder and louder and louder.
Oh
And I'm
man.
backstage about to go on, and I go, Shh. I go, he better not get the golden buzzer. And they're all looking at me like, no, 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 he's not going to. He's not going to. And then sure enough, woo! Like screaming, shouting. And I was like, oh, and I had to go on right after that. So not only is the mentality like, well, you're definitely not going to get it, but also like I have to follow that insane energy because the audience is already hyped up, but then they're hyped up on top of that from the golden buzzer energy. And my whole like my plan was to go out and just say hi in a really low key way as contrast from all the high, energy acts. So I had a whole plan. I'm just gonna be like, hi, like bring it down, get them to listen. But they were on their feet cheering, still from the last guy. And I didn't really read the energy right. And I just was like, hi. And then they didn't say anything. I was like, hi. I'm like screaming hello. And it set off my second set just weird. Like it was off kilter. So yeah, that was pretty challenging I would have done that differently.
Yeah, that's interesting, but that's television, right? I mean, you just don't
Yes.
really know. And as somebody who's just watching from afar, they would have no idea that all this is happening. I mean, you go to a club and I see you perform. You have an opener, maybe a host and a middler, and then you come out and do your headline. That's that. But there's not like this crazy stuff happening before you go out, and now you're a comedian and you have to go out and do 5 minutes, however 7 minutes, and sort of bring everybody in to be prepared for your style and persona on stage, so it's definitely, I could see the difference in in energy levels for sure,
And it's
because
hard
it's
because you don't have a lot of time to address it. You can't really go rogue. Like I wanted to be like, okay, shut up. Like I wanted to say that, but I can't do that. So yeah, so it's kind of like it was not intuitive. I would say it was the opposite of intuitive. It was the opposite of what I would normally have done
yeah.
in that
Well,
situation.
that's cool though to hear that it was a positive experience even though it was a while ago. I
Yeah,
think
and then I
every
and then
little
I told off Simon too in that one. I
nice.
got mad at him because he was like, I didn't laugh. Like all the other judges loved me, and then we get to him and he goes, I didn't laugh. And I was just like, and I was like, And so I didn't know what to say. So I just go, was it too much lady material, maybe? And the crowd like cheered that. And then Simon, and then he had to laugh because he is not that great at improv, I don't think. So he kind of just like, he just froze and had to laugh. And then he goes, that was funny. That's funny, you know? And yeah, then they asked who would I have drive me to the airport. And I was like, well, not Simon.
That's great. So you got to roast him
I
and
got
do
to
a
roast him. That's what I was most
little
proud
bit
of.
of crowd work there, kind of, and
Yeah.
it was a good experience. Very cool. So we're here now. You're performing. I think too. I came across the video. You were with Garrison Keeler. That was very cool to see that
Yeah, I think I'm gonna
opportunity.
go on tour with him again. He wants to do like a mini tour in February, so we might do a couple shows in Florida together.
That's very cool. What has that been? That's definitely. I I've seen comedians on there, but to see you kind of go from one thing to the other, that has to be a fun thing too, because you just get to show up and do your set or whatever, and then just be. And that's cool that you get to be a part of that world too.
Yeah, it's sort of just whatever he wants to do. So he just came up with this idea where it's just the two of us. So I might do like 20 minutes of my set and then he'll do what he does and then we'll do something together. But
Is
still
it
not sure.
fun working in that kind of, because that's a very different audience for sure. But
Very different, much
but you
older.
do, your material works well though, from what I've seen. I mean, just the
Kind
one.
of. I'm a little worried about it because I've been doing edgier and edgier. So some of my
Okay.
stuff might not work great, but I guess it'll be a challenge to try to write more clean stuff for a bit.
Well, very cool. Excellent segue.
Mhm.
Talk about writing a little bit because we've mentioned a couple times about maybe being on a talent show and working clean completely and then having to go out on the road and people see you. And it's like Samuel Conroe, I think, was one that sort of faced that challenge where these families were watching him on TV and then he does a massive club run and people are like, whoa, this is not what I saw on television. But for you now, you mentioned this idea of having to maybe ride a little bit cleaner. For you, when an opportunity comes, is there a sort of battle with just you being who you are as a stand-up and performing, and then sort of can you work clean? Are you open to that, or you must be obviously if you're going out on tour with Garrison and deciding to, you're okay with that chameleon idea of depending on the audience, you're willing to sort of work, or
I
does it
mean,
depend?
I think I try to write for my audience, but I'm not really sure who my audience is yet. So, but no, I guess I don't even write for my audience. I just write for myself. I write what I find funny and I guess I try to have as much material as I can so I could make adjustments, but yeah, it's definitely if it's a clean crowd, you would know it, I think, just based on the situation and the people. But I'm not really working clean anymore. I'm not a super dirty comic, but I like edgy. I like, sometimes being a little shocking, but I wouldn't call myself a clean comic.
That's very cool. So, do you enjoy writing? I like to ask that question as well because some people enjoy it, some people don't really enjoy it. They want to get as much mileage as they can out of what they know works. Is it a fun process for you, or is it just something that you do? Obviously, because you always have to be coming up with new material if you're performing constantly.
Yeah, I love writing, but I get stuck a lot. So, I know I saw an interview um with Seinfeld and he was like, Writer's block doesn't exist. And I'm like, really? But you run out of ideas sometimes. Like sometimes I get stuck with like the same repetitive topics,
Mm,
and then I'm like, I need to go do something, or I need some life experience because right now I'm doing the same jokes over. It feels like I'm in like a trap of like the same kinds of jokes, So, but I will say that I don't think I enjoy stand up unless I'm coming up with new stuff. Like I would kill myself if I had to do the same jokes over and over. That's when I get really depressed if I don't have any new material.
interesting. It just sort of affects your personality a little bit, which I think makes sense.
Yeah.
Considering stand up. is such a different thing than what most people would ever know of or experience. You have to be writing all the time and doing new things.
Well, it's a creative art, so the whole point of doing it is you're creating something out of nothing, right? So to me, that's the best part of stand up is like there wasn't a joke and now there's a joke, you know? So if you keep doing the jokes that already exist, I'm like, why are you doing it?
That's a good question. I think that's something you should ask yourself. Yeah, probably if you're going to do this and take a swing at it. Um, I'm interested to know. So you've had a lot of different experiences. Well, I want to go back to something. You said something you're not quite sure who your audience is yet. Is that just
Yeah.
that's interesting. I've never heard anybody say that because a lot of people would go, yeah, there's like finding your voice as a comedian.
Yeah.
Then there's like, but I've never heard I've interviewed so many comedians and I've
Yeah.
never heard anybody say that. So let's explore it a little
Oh,
bit if you're cool with that.
yeah,
Because I'm
totally.
curious, how would you ever, I guess you'd have to know that at some point. Like you mentioned a Seinfeld, he clearly knows who his audience is because of his television show. So most people come see him because of that. But for you, like, how does that work for you? Like trying to figure that journey out. Have you ever thought about it? I just find it interesting because it's
Yeah,
like,
well, I
huh,
still feel like I'm a bit of like an underground name, you know, and I feel like I don't know if that's because I haven't figured out who my audience is, but maybe it's because, yeah, I haven't been good at figuring out exactly where I fit, you know, because maybe, you know, some people are like, yeah, you should either totally work clean or totally work dirty, or, you know, it's almost like you have to pick a lane. And maybe I haven't really picked a lane, but I also don't really want to pick a lane. I just want to do what I want to do. So, yeah, sometimes my audience seems like they really love the edgy stuff. Sometimes they seem like more family like. So sometimes I'll get a lot of women, sometimes I won't get a lot of women. It just depends. Like I think I haven't quite figured it out yet.
that's interesting. I just find that very fascinating. Which I think is cool. I mean, and I think that's part of the joy of this is
Yeah.
figuring it out, right? Because
This
you
is
don't
why
want,
I haven't made it yet.
well, I would say, okay, you've definitely made it if that's the term that we're using. Um, like for yeah, it's interesting. Like somebody like myself who's 2.5 years in, who's still doing the showcases and hustling and getting spots. In fact, there's a show tonight that I'm supposed to be at. My friend is like, hey, would you be willing to do 5 minutes? It's a brewery show. Those are always interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but from my perspective, you've made it. Yeah. Mark Norman, I said that to him in an interview over COVID. He's like, oh God, please don't ever say that ever again. He's like, he goes, um, it was funny. That was a very fun conversation. He's an interesting guy.
Well,
Um,
I'm obsessed with like owning a house one day, and I feel like that's when I'll feel like for me, I'll feel like I've made it
sure.
if I can buy a house, you know, which is not, I'm not like expecting to be a household name or like have millions of dollars, but I would like to be like, this is my house, you know?
The day you don't have to pay rent.
Yeah, that's a dream. Not that I
But
actually really like my apartment, but yeah.
yeah, well, I mean, the fact that you're doing this full time, I think
Yeah.
is an indicator of the fact that I think that's every comedian's dream, I think, to be able to quit their day job or whatever you call it and to be able to like sort of get past the psychology of being just a hustler. I mean, clearly open mics are probably far removed, but
I
just
still
being
once in a while do an open mic.
really, you still do
Yeah,
it once in a
one
while.
there's one in my like really near my neighborhood that it's a very it's called the unproblematic open mic. So
Okay.
it's very supportive. I like it. And so
I'm
yeah, we have
problematic.
like
That's pretty funny.
yeah, it's funny. It's like unproblematic. And yeah, no, they always get good people, and it's like yeah, Maria Bamford has shown up to it a couple
Oh,
times.
wow.
Yeah, so I'm not above doing an open mic.
Do people, other comics that know you, get intimidated when they see you show up and go, uh,
No, I don't think anyone's ever intimidated by me.
not just, I'm just a curious question.
Yeah,
Like, I
no, I
know,
don't think think so.
Sometimes here, if there's a long weekend and a comedian holds over, they'll show up to the new material night. And it's always kind of fun to watch them perform outside of a regular paid show and just watch them do like 10 or 15 minutes on it, especially an open mic is always like, you never know what you're going to get for
Yeah,
those times.
I did an open mic in Kansas City, and they said the only two people who ever did the open mic were me and Doug Stanhope. They're like, there's only two that have ever stayed. So I texted Doug. I was like, we're the only ones who ever did the open mic in Kansas City.
Of all places.
Yeah.
Uh, that would be funny if you did stay over here and showed up to the. It's always fun because it's an opportunity for younger comics to watch someone who's been doing it for a long time just watch and sort of get to see something that they might not normally get to see otherwise.
I mean,
That's
I still bomb all the time, you know. It's like I don't know the process of some you know, really big comics and if they don't ever bomb, but I still bomb a lot. If I mean in local shows where I'm trying stuff, not like bigger shows, but it's like if I'm trying a bunch, like the other day I did a set at the Improv Lab and I did like, you know, 15 new jokes and like nothing worked. And I was like, okay. All I got out of it was all the things not working, you know, but then one joke killed. So it's like, okay, I got one joke.
that's it. And then rinse and repeat
Yeah.
every single time.
But I don't think that ever changes is the point, you know?
No.
It's like there's a humility ingrained in stand up where it's like if you're not humble forever, you're just not good. Or you
Yeah,
stop being good.
that is very good. Very cool stuff. Is it easier for you now? I think I saw you had posted a video and you were with someone and he was asking you about your set. I don't know if that was who
Yeah.
that was, and you're like, oh, I felt like I did okay. And he's like, oh, you were amazing. I
No,
said
I
to a,
said I bombed.
oh, okay.
And
And
I
he
go,
was,
I bombed. And he goes, it depends how you define a bomb. And I go, nobody laughed. He goes, I don't think that's a bomb. And I go, yeah, that's the definition of bombing. Is
that
when
is the, that is the working definition of bombing
yeah.
is getting zero laughs. There was
Yeah.
an open mic, and the host was like, "So, if you've never been to an open mic, the best thing you can do is if you hear a joke and it's not funny,
Yeah.
just be quiet. And these comedians here tonight will live with that forever.
Yeah.
Better than shouting things out or heckling. But the whole point I was making was it's fun to see. It's interesting to see that because you're like, no, it was horrible. And they're like, oh no, you did a really good job. I
I
said to a,
had, yeah, I wanted to do a bunch of behind the scenes stuff, like about, you know, going a
that's,
bunch of
yeah,
different,
that's
yeah.
fascinating. And I forget what I was going to say,
Sorry,
but
I
that's
interrupted.
okay. It's just
You were
part of the,
saying to somebody, you said I was saying
oh
to,
yeah, to a comedian the other day in a conversation, like comedy is probably one of the most delusional things you can do. Because even on a bad, most people, even on a bad night, if they get a couple laughs, I got laughs, so I'm going to keep doing this and torturing myself repetitively over the next however long you continue to do it.
I did a private show recently. It was like they were like opening a museum in Chicago and I thought I bombed. It was just it was a great event, but it was a weird place for where the comedies hit and I didn't have somebody warming me up really. So I just went out cold and I just thought I bombed so horribly and I went and I hid in the green room and I was sitting there like, all right, how do I sneak out of here, you know? And then and then somebody popped his head in and was like, that was great. And I was kind of like, that was weird. Like almost like, well, that's a liar, you know? And then I was like, but then I started thinking, well, why would he like try to, pop his head in? It's not like someone tries to go tell someone they were good if they weren't, they avoid them. Right. So then I go, okay, let's just be a big girl, go out there, face the music, just be a person. And I went out and I only got a couple of feet and everybody was like, that was great. That was great. And I was just, at first I think everyone's lying. And then after a while, I'm like, maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought.
Yeah. I think that's the case, like we're our
Yeah.
own worst critics in anything in life, really. But when people encourage you and go, "Hey, that was really good," or a good set, I think that's the greatest validation that anybody could receive, uh, is
Yeah, I mean, there's a
from your
place where you
peers.
still kind of know what your best set is and you compare it to that. But what I've heard from comics is that it's not about your best show getting better. It's about your worst show getting better, you know? So like your worst show keeps elevating so that even your worst possible show is still decent.
Yeah,
That's the
that's a
difference.
good sound clip. I like that. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you always have to be getting better, and if you're still doing mics at this point, and I mean, obviously, um, when you're doing these book shows and you're performing, not necessarily like with Garrison or some of these other people, but just doing your regular club shows, are you doing new things as well at night with that mixed in with your greatest hits, or are you just kind of feeling it out and seeing how the night goes?
Yeah, I always try to do something new. My rule is I have to get at least one new joke out of every weekend of shows. So if I'm not trying a bunch, I probably won't get one. So I have to get like one, really good joke every weekend.
Do you let people know
Hopefully
that you're
more.
doing, yeah, that you're doing something new, or do you just kind of sneak it in? I know some people go, do you guys want to hear something new? And then the audience kind of, you know, oh, okay, sure. I mean, if that's what we're doing.
I usually don't, but if it doesn't work, then I'll be like, well, that was new. And it's funny, I used to have this saver that was like, well, that's a new joke that's now old. And then I heard Dimitri Martin do the same exact save, and I was like, hey! And I mean, I guess it's not that, original, but I thought that was my little save. And then I was like, oh, Dimitri Martin has it.
Have you ever done new things and then you've heard other comics do similar things? I know parallel thought is something that can be challenging, and you go, well, I guess I can't do that anymore. Or maybe you just make little adjustments based on maybe what you've
Yeah.
heard somebody else do.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot, especially with social media. It's like
Hmm.
so hard now, and people like the worst thing is people will, even if you just have a premise that's the same, people will be like, you stole that joke. And I'm like, it's just the premise. Like we have the similar premise, like you can't own a premise, right?
Right.
So when people accuse you, and then yeah, I had a situation. I had two actually. Was like one was with Seinfeld where he I had an I did it is what it is joke on my album, and then I saw it on he had it
Oh,
on a Netflix special. I hate when people say it is what it is, and I was like, it just it. People should say it just is. And I had recorded it already on my album when I saw it on his special, and then I asked some people, and they were like, he's been doing that joke for years, and so it's just that was just parallel thought. I hadn't heard his joke, he'd already been doing it. So and then Gary Gulman had a joke about at Trader Joe's where they say find everything you were looking for. And I had a joke on my album about finding everything you were looking for, but it's a totally different direction, but I cried when I found out he had a similar joke because I was like, no, that joke I'm so proud of. And then I felt like I couldn't post it because I'm like scared somebody might accuse me, So yeah,
it's
I think that
hard.
happens a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I was opening for a comedian, and um, I have a joke, couple jokes about e-bikes and stuff. And then after I was done, he's like, "Hey, just so you know, I also do something similar." He goes, "Fortunately, they're completely different, but now I don't know that I want to do that joke." And I had no idea, and he was very nice about it, but he goes, "Just, you know, he did ask if I would be, there was one little tack at the end, and he's like, it's kind of similar to what I have." And he goes, I don't, it was just kind of an uncomfortable conversation for me because I'm so new at it. And I was just like, yeah, sure, whatever, but I haven't crossed paths with that person again. So,
But
but it
also,
was
they might not be saying don't do the joke. They just might be saying maybe when you're open, like together, you can't do the joke.
right. He goes, if you're ever opening again, he goes, just do you mind either not doing that or maybe saving it? And I was like, yeah, that's fair. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've
Uh,
heard that. I've had that situation where people have had like overlap topics. That's why sometimes, not to be a bad feminist, but sometimes I prefer male comics if, just be to open for me, just because there's more likely to be overlap with a woman with like topics, we're more
Yeah, like
likely.
I would probably that bit you have about I was laying in bed, lying in bed.
Yeah,
That's one of my favorites. But yeah, I could see that, a male comic might not have that point of view necessarily or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like it might be
yeah.
different. Um,
I don't
but
think anyone would have that one because people don't have that many grammar jokes these days.
no, and that is one of the things that you do well. That is true. My niche is grammar, grammar jokes. That's pretty funny. Um, a play on words like, yeah, not many grammar jokes. And if
Yeah.
somebody did and they happened to be working with you, it would be suspect because that's a pretty like well thought out thing that you're doing. And
Right.
and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
that
like it's not like a typical, premise, setup, punchline, knockdown or act out. It's a pretty like educated thing, like that you're drawing comparisons. Yeah, it's not pretty normal for not many grammar
yeah,
jokes.
that was not a joke I'd worry about being overlappy, but there's, like dating stories or things like that.
Dating
Or
apps, yeah.
yeah, I try not to do dating. Well, I guess I have maybe one dating app joke, but that's about it.
Yeah, or I was recently, that's the great thing about being a single dad. There's not a lot of like that out there necessarily, so it's pretty safe.
Yeah, that's good.
Um,
Yeah.
well, very cool. I appreciate your time. Like,
Oh,
again, I've been a huge fan for a long time, so I'm glad we were able to, I
thanks.
think, get this together and that you didn't have to go to jury duty today.
Yes, fingers crossed, not tomorrow either. I went
So,
when I showed up, I mean, it was awful because it's like the downtown courthouse. It's like you do not want to go there.
in LA.
Yeah, in LA, it's the worst courthouse, like hands down. There was a guy like running through the hallway saying he had AIDS. He was just like, I've got AIDS. I've got, I was like, that's one way to get out of jury duty. I guess I could try that.
Or you could just go in and start doing bits with your
Yeah.
peers. Say, hey, I'm really working on this new grammar
Hey,
joke. Do you mind if I
how many women don't want to be on jury duty?
raise your hand? Where are you from? What
Yeah.
do you do for a living?
My friend Devin told me the best way he got out of jury duty was that there was a hairdresser and they said, can anyone not be unbiased? And he's like, my mom's a hairdresser. And when I look at that woman, I just see my mom. It's like, that's the best excuse ever.
Yeah, well, I love it. Well, I'm excited. Obviously, February is not that far away, so I'll definitely come
I hope to see you there.
check out a show and say hi. I try to say hi to friends in comics when they come through, especially if they've been on, give you some merch and just say hi. It's a great room. It's very intimate and you'll have a lot of fun. It's a cool spot to perform. Those
Great.
shows almost always sell out. Like they're
That's
just
great. I'm excited.
yeah, and David the owner's great and everybody that's a regular there. They're just all really nice people. It's a cool club, so very cool. Well, thank you for your time and
Yeah, thanks, Brett.
congratulations on everything. And hopefully the Garrison Keeler stuff gets to turn into something. That's a huge thing. Like, not a lot of people can put that on their resume that they get to perform with him. So
That's true.
he's kind
Yeah,
of a legend in his own way.
he is. He's also my uncle, so nepotism.
Oh, is he really your uncle?
Well, by marriage, he married my
Oh,
aunt.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. I mean, this is showbiz, right? I mean, you get what you can
I
get. So,
know. I mean, it's a different kind of nepotism when it's radio.
yeah, I mean, it's not like,
That's
you're Jay Leno's like niece and you just happen to, I mean, even if it was, who cares? I mean, you've
that's
worked
true.
hard. How long have you,
You still have to be good at stuff.
yeah, you can't just ride coattails to ride them. How long have you been doing stand up? For a long time, yeah.
I think it's either 13 or 14 years.
Yeah, So that makes sense to be where you are. I mean, I feel like you've made it. I mean, the grammar jokes are amazing. And
Those are some of my first jokes. Those I don't even do those anymore.
yeah,
I
I
hit
mean, it's great. I mean, that's cool to be able to write something and have it work. But who cares? I mean, yeah, he's nepotism, whatever. I
I
mean,
mean,
it's not,
I was just excited that under my John Benet Ramsey clip, Walter Goggins said, "This is everything." I mean,
that to me
that
is
was a
making it.
making it moment,
That is the best validation any human being could ever get
right?
in
I
their
mean,
entire life. I mean,
thank you. That's what I thought. I
yeah,
screenshot it. I was like, Walter. I mean, I think he's great, Walter Goggins.
yeah, America's favorite.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, well, thank you for your time, Erica. You're amazing, and
Brett.
I appreciate you hanging out today. Thank you so
Yeah, thanks
much.
so much. Talking.